My name is Paget. Welcome to this channel where I talk about all things spirituality, manifestation, and energy. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, even hit that like button if you're feeling extra generous so that we can be connected on YouTube. So people are always talking about the masculine and feminine energies when it comes to manifestation, when it comes to just the way of being, how to attract attention, how to attract love, how to attract money, all of these different things, right? And so in this video, I really want to break it down in a very tangible way so that anyone can understand the difference between masculine and feminine energies and how they actually work together when it comes to manifestation, that it's a balance. It's not just choosing one or the other, and the powers of both. So masculine energies are probably what you assume, which is the forward momentum, the structure, the action, but actually at a really deep energetic level, it has a certain quality to it. It's not purely just this is masculine. There are different levels of frequency to that, right? So for instance, if we're talking about masculine and feminine energies, it's like the difference between talking about the meat of a chicken leg versus the meat of the chicken breast, for instance. There are two different fundamental meats, but then when you talk about the quality of the meat, then we're talking about something else, because there's a difference between, let's say, the meat of a chicken leg in fast food restaurants and the meat of a chicken leg in a Michelin star organic restaurant. So there's different qualities. The same thing when it comes to masculine energies or feminine energies, there's actually different qualities of those energies that are going to produce a different level of result that I don't really feel like most people actually understand or most people even talk about when it comes to masculine and feminine energies. So by the way, a really high quality masculine energy or frequency when it comes to the manifestation process, it's not just pushing and it's not just force, right? It's not pushing out of exhaustion. It's not like force because, out of control and all of that stuff, which is how most people use masculine energies, whether you're female or male, which doesn't feel good, by the way, for either one. It's actually more of a determination. Like there's a quality of, the closest word I can really describe it as is determination. It's force from determination. It's force from knowing your power, like already being in the knowing of your strength. That's a really big difference, because you can push from not being worthy, not knowing your strength, not knowing if you can get it done or if you can do it. And then there is a pushing forward, or there's a moving forward from complete confidence, from complete determination, because you know that you're creating the path as you're walking it. Does that make sense? So again, different qualities, different frequencies of the masculine frequency itself. Now, when it comes to feminine energetics or the energy of the feminine, it is also what you probably think. It's about receiving, it's about allowing, it's about flow, it's the creativity, it's the void where there's the possibility of anything, where anything can be born at a given moment, where every possibility exists. That's why it's like magical. Like I feel like the feminine energies at its highest level feels magical. And this is the energy that magnetizes or pulls the thing to you, whereas the masculine creates the path forward to the thing, the feminine draws it to you. So let's say you wanted to manifest $1 million. It's actually going to be the feminine energy that's going to, let's say, receive the idea, the inspiration, the person, the right coincidences, whatever it is, right? The right events that is going to lead you to having that $1 million opportunity. But when that idea comes into your field, it is the masculine that carries it out. It is the masculine that moves it forward, that actually moves it forward to its highest potential. Now, this is where it gets kind of cool, because it's actually the feminine, while the masculine is moving it forward, but it's actually the feminine that receives the energy, right, in order to move it forward. So essentially, when it comes to manifesting at the highest levels, you need both. Now, obviously, the biggest mistake that I see that people get into a trap with is that they just focus on one way or the other, and they don't understand the integration. And also, they're just working with, let's say, the feminine energies or the masculine energies from its like lower level frequency. So again, it's like being really, really passive out of fear, right? Or it's being really, really hyper controlling and hyper pushing out of fear. It's actually both out of fear, but it's just like distorted in different ways. It's either distorted in the feminine or it's distorted in the masculine, but it's still distorted. So you have people who are really into the feminine energetics, who are about allowing and receiving. They wait for things to come to them. And here's the thing, this can work, but remember when we talked about the quality of The frequency, to what level this works, depends on the quality of the frequency itself. Because there is a difference between receiving $5 and $50,000 and then $5 million. So that's point number one. Now, point number two, which is super, super important, is that they use the whole I want to be in my feminine as kind of a way to bypass actually releasing the fear that they have in taking action, because it's also not really natural to not be moving, right? Like women still have to move, like whether they're taking care of a baby or they're giving birth or they're, participating in life, they're still moving, there's still action. It's not like women are just supposed to not do anything ever. So someone might say, well, I don't want to work. I just want it to be brought to me. Well, okay, but then you still have to do the energetic work to be at the higher level of frequency for the level of thing that you want to be brought to you. You still have to be an energetic frequency match. And that's still going to require you to release your fears in one way or another. So you either have to energetically earn the ability to not do the thing, and that requires you to release the deep fears, the self-doubt, the non-deserving, the unworthiness, which is likely what's making you not want to work. Because actually, if you released a lot of those energies, there's a high likelihood that you would actually want to do things. You thinking that you just want to do nothing is not really true. That if you release those fears, if you release that low self-worth, if you release the self-doubt, if you release the fear of persecution, all of these energy patterns, you would actually be like, okay, well, now I'm in the position to actually carry out my purpose, to actually do the thing. But do you see how it's not just about feminine and masculine? It's about the quality of the frequency, or rather the frequency level that you are at. That's going to determine the level in which you are going to manifest, whether it's money or relationship or career or anything else. And this is why I so emphasize elevating your frequency in all of my work and all of my programs, because that is really going to determine the level in which you're going to be able to receive from the universe. Now, the other thing that I see is that people are hyper subscribed to the masculine, and they don't actually allow the feminine to support them in their manifesting journey. Meaning they're so forward looking, they're so linear about like how they're going to get their goal, that they don't allow new, they don't allow different, they don't allow unpredictable, they don't allow illogical things to happen, right? Those quantum jumps to happen. Everything has to be earned in a really physical sense. And this is also tiring, because remember when I said the feminine is actually what allows you to receive the energy to carry out the thing? Actually, when you're in your feminine and let's say you're doing things, you can like get done 10 times more things in half the amount of extra energy that you're expending, because you're actually now becoming a channel of the universal flow around you. It's a very, very different way of working. It's a very, very different way of being. But if you're completely in the masculine, you're not actually allowing that energy to work through you or work for you. So everything is very, very self-generated, if that makes sense. And of course, if you are not receiving the help from other people, or receiving different alternate paths, or receiving different inspiration that could actually make your life easier, or receiving energetic support from the universe, everything is gonna feel a lot harder. Now, what if there was another way? What if you could use the energies of the masculine and use the energies of the feminine to integrate and actually work together and support each other? In fact, in proper balance, this is exactly what they do. They integrate perfectly together like the yin and yang. The feminine receives, the masculine drives forward. The feminine receives, the masculine drives forward. But of course, we've been historically so focused on the masculine pushing forward. We all kind of know what that looks like. We all understand what that physically would represent as. We're not as used to understanding how to integrate the feminine into that process. People always say that the feminine is about flow and receiving and allowing, and yes, that is true. But what does that energetically mean? Like, what does that actually look like? Well, firstly, precursor to all of this, you need to be in alignment with your feminine energy. And this goes beyond the mental. What I see is most of the time you actually need to release your resistance to being in your feminine energy, or resistance to the feminine frequency itself. Most of us, if not all of us, have this resistance literally embedded into our DNA. And so in order for us to come into welcoming the feminine frequency, or welcoming our feminine frequency, or embodying our feminine frequency, we actually have to purge a lot of these energies that are creating that resistance to the feminine itself. Now, where does this resistance come from? You might have guessed it. Number one is your lineage. lineage, or otherwise known as generational curses. Because if there was a distorted relationship with, let's say, the feminine in your lineage, whether it was your parents or farther back than your parents, it doesn't even have to, by the way, just be your parents. It could be your grandparents. It could be your grandparents. But if there was a distortion with the feminine energy, meaning let's say there was a suppression of the feminine, or there was an oppression of the feminine, or women were kind of just used to, let's say, give birth, or they were used to just do the cooking and cleaning, but they weren't really truly valued. They weren't really truly appreciated for their entire feminine identity, then you would end up inheriting this. And this would end up looking like a form of low self-worth in relation to your feminine identity. And number two is your past lives, or your alternate lives is what I call them, because really there is no such thing as real time, but your past lives where, let's say, generations upon generations back, you were in a past life where you were a woman, or you were a man, by the way, right? And you saw the way in which women were treated, and they were treated like cattle, or they were treated really, really poorly. And there was like a lot of prejudice, and there was a lot of oppression, repression, again, very similar to in your lineage as well, because we're talking about historically in society. Then again, this would also impact your relationship with your feminine identity now. You would literally be inheriting like those feelings, those emotions, those prejudices, those deep-seated beliefs and energies around the feminine identity, and it would create this resistance to you actually being in your feminine because it wouldn't feel safe. And then of course there's the plain old societal conditioning, right? How we were treated in childhood, what we've learned growing up, what we've witnessed, how we don't really have any true like female role models, powerful female role models in society, all of those other things. So all of these things would contribute to a distorted relationship with the feminine energetics or the feminine identity in general. And in order to fully embody your divine feminine or your most powerful feminine identity, you're gonna have to release some of this resistance, right? Some of us have it a little bit more than others. Some of us also have like the childhood conditioning as well. And so it's gonna be a little bit more obvious, but we all have it. And we're gonna have to release some of these energies in order for us to really truly feel safe being in our strong feminine. Because yes, we can be in our feminine, but again, at what level are we in our feminine? Like maybe, we're in our feminine, but we're in our weak feminine. So it's very passive or it's very manipulative. And so as you release more of these generational curses, as you release this past life trauma, all these things, you start to purify your relationship with your feminine identity. And then this allows you to return back to this fertile space of being in your true divine feminine power. And the sign that you are coming into that is when you're able to literally just be in the pleasure of life itself. Like you don't need to be achieving anything. You don't really need to be doing anything in particular, but you are just in the pleasure of being, the pleasure of living, the pleasure of life, of yourself, of your body. And it sounds so simple, but it's actually something that you align to at a really deep energetic level, and also something that you often have to condition yourself into, because we are so conditioned to not be happy with ourselves, to not allow ourselves to be in pleasure, to not allow ourselves to deserve nice things unless we really earn it. But this loving of life, this state of being at peace and really loving of life and being creative and being free and being authentic, all of these things, like the yumminess of life, this is the fertile ground for your manifestations. This is the fertile ground actually for quantum shifting. It's also the fertile ground where masculine energies can thrive. And this is actually why they say a happy wife equals a happy life. It's actually true. And it's based in these energetic principles that the woman creates this really nice fertile foundation of love and support and inspiration and possibility and all of that. The fertile ground, the fertile energetic ground. And the masculine gets to plug into that. And that's his solid foundation for him to soar, for him to succeed, for him to do all the amazing things that he wants to go do. Like I know for me personally, the more that I have come into my feminine and I'm happy and I'm feeling bright and I'm feeling lively and I'm feeling energetic, Steve is on top of the world. And this is the state of being that we are going to be energetically aligning to and embodying in the Divine Feminine Method, which is going to be a 9-week live program on not only how to to align to this energetic balance between the masculine and the feminine, and understanding how it's used in manifestation, but also releasing and purging past life trauma, releasing and purging generational trauma, so that we can step into manifestation from this place of joy and playfulness and creativity. It doesn't have to be so hard, right? It doesn't have to feel so difficult. It doesn't have to feel like we're suffering all the time. It can look like joy. It can look like play. We just have to align energetically into that space. It's just going to be such a beautiful life-altering experience. And we're doing this all together live so that we can really take advantage of, there's an energy to the mastermind, the energetics of the mastermind, pushing us all forward in the same direction together. So if you'd like to join us, you can check out the link below. Now, another aspect and power of the feminine that people talk about a lot is being in the receiving mode. Now, here's the thing, okay? Receiving doesn't just mean receiving money or receiving the physical thing. Yes, of course, that's part of it, okay? But it's receiving in the entire process of the manifestation itself. So that's receiving the idea that's going to lead you to that $10 million. Receiving the energy that's going to make it happen. Receiving the downloads and the hits at the right moment in time that's going to lead to the shortcut that's going to quantum jump you there. Receiving also the support that is required, the resources that is required. And if you're not comfortable in receiving, then this is going to be an issue. Like even look at your life right now. Are you comfortable receiving compliments? Are you comfortable receiving random gifts, like really extravagant gifts from someone? Like, would you be comfortable with that? Or would that actually feel a little weird? Like, would you actually be a little resistant to, like, what does this come with? Are you comfortable receiving physical support from someone? Let's say, are you comfortable receiving financial support from, let's say, your parents, or receiving financial support from a spouse? And I'm not saying this is about you becoming dependent on other people, but are you comfortable with receiving? Are you able to deserve receiving support from the outside world? Because it is going to reflect your ability to also receive other gifts from the universe as well. And by the way, you also know that you're in this mode of receiving when you just feel more energized in your body. And when I'm in receiving mode, the entire process of creation just feels so much easier. It's like I am plugged into a lightning bolt or a socket. I have so much energy. I'm receiving all of these different ideas. It literally feels like my body all of a sudden is now just a channel for source energy. I mean, we're all channels for source energy, but it just feels like the energy is just flowing through me. And the things that would usually take someone else a lot of effort, I can do in a fraction of the time. Now, when I'm not in receiving mode, holy cow, I am like the laziest person you will ever find. Like, I have no energy. It will take me 10 times more effort to do half the work. But this is why the feminine energies and the masculine energies, they really, really are both so incredibly important when it comes to the manifestation process. Now, I know that most people, again, are more familiar with the masculine side of how to manifest, and it's really goal setting, or like trying to change your thoughts or control your thoughts all the time, trying to control your visualization all the time and all of that stuff. And it's something that actually I was never really able to do. I did do it sometimes, and I would manifest some things here and there, but those manifestations would feel really, really shallow, or they wouldn't be at the level that I actually wanted to manifest the thing. Like, I would, let's say, book this acting job, but then I got cut out of the acting job, and then I didn't even get credit for it, and it didn't really change the course of my career, right? So this is the difference between also being able to manifest one-off things that don't really change who you are being, don't really change your life, and being able to manifest a different version of you who is then a natural match to higher level things. It's almost a very completely different process, although if you can use both of them together, then that's absolutely amazing. Anyway, that's a little bit of a side note, but I hope all of this makes some sense to you. I hope this really clarified what the difference really is between the masculine energetics and the feminine energetics, and why both of them are important, why there are actually different levels to these different energies as well. So that makes a huge difference. Share in the comments below what your balance is between the masculine and the feminine energetics, what you could actually use more of, what you've learned in this video. I always love hearing what you guys have learned in this video, what kind of aha moments that you're having. And if you feel the pull and you feel the call and this is resonating with you, then definitely join us in the Divine Feminine Method. It is going to be an amazing, sacred, incredible, exciting, joyful process. But until next time, take care of yourselves, and I will see you later.